Inthecity podcast. This is John, aka Dojo.
It's your boy Ray B.
And we got a guest in the building. We're gonna let him introduce himself. Man.
City of Columbus, how's it going? This is Demetrius Stevenson, better known as Meech, or if I've caught you on social media, 91 till whenever. How's it going, fellas?
Let's go. It's going good, man.
Man.
Yeah, it's going pretty good, man. My boy Claude, flu game today.
Man, flu game in here.
He real sick.
About to go for 41.
Right, about to go for 41. It's all good. And one thing we're gonna do, like we always do, is the local love hashtag local love. With the hashtag local love, I just want to give another shout out to Chris from Corrupt. He dropped another piece today, one-on-one piece. You know, had a little pop up. Retro Soul, shout out to Retro Soul too. But yeah, man, I just want to get started real quick with Meech. I just want him to introduce himself, get more in depth of why we got you here on the show. I mean, I know we just shooting the shit right now, but just want to get you, get people more in tune with you, man.
Absolutely. So, like I said, name is Demetrius Stevenson. If I've never seen you around, I like to consider myself a Columbus native, honestly. I've spent most of my time here, but, you know, military brat also comes with moving around. I think the most infamous or notarized thing behind me is I've probably seen you around at Soul Classics. I was there for a couple years just holding it down and ensuring that Deontay, you know, his business was in good hands, essentially. And with that, I was very, very blessed to, you know, come across, you know, great young souls such as yourself and many, many others that, you know, through time I've either maintained relationships with or, you know, shared great times and memories with. So I'm very appreciative of, you know, that experience. And now I've moved on to different things, you know. Mm-hmm. I saw my time at Soul Classics, and now, you know, it's on to the corporate realm over at DSW. So life is good. Life is blessed. So.
What's up, man? Nah, most definitely. So, I mean, honestly, just on the Soul Classics tip, I just want to get this out of the way that we had a terrible moment last Sunday with the death of Kobe Bryant. That was the craziest experience that I had. It just threw me off, actually, man. I just want to see how y'all feel about that, man, because we were at the store on that Sunday last week. It's been a little over a week now, but I know me and Meech was there, man. We was just kicking it, you know, chilling with everybody. Retro Reese had a pop up there, so shout out to Retro Reese, by the way. But yeah, man, it just killed the whole energy of the whole the whole store, the whole atmosphere, everything, man. But yeah, let's just talk about that for a little second, man. If you want to talk about it, just how you felt just that day, man.
Well, I happened to be at work when I found out, and you know, it was just one of the moments where you just like we was talking about, like, nah, it can't be right way, like TMZ, they be BSing, so yeah, it's like, man, nah. And then I kept going to my phone. I'm like, bro, like, this really might be a thing.
Yeah.
And then once I really found out what was going down, that it happened, it just changed my whole aspect about everything, and it made me realize, like, bro, nobody's invincible. Like, you know what I'm saying? Anybody can go at any moment, and it's just like, it's crazy to, like, to most people, even us, like, well, definitely me, a superhero died. Yeah. You know, you don't expect stuff like that.
Most definitely.
You know, you expect him to be around for as long as he wants, and then when it's his time, it's his time. Like, not like something like that tragic to happen, and it changed his whole family's life. So, for me, it definitely...
And then you grew up hooping.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, it was so much motivation and things that he taught me, just how to be a better person. And that's one thing I always speak on, is just, like, how hoop made me a better person, and just it made me more mature. Right. And just the fact I could walk around and be like, yeah, I play basketball. No, it made me into a better man, made me into a better... everything, honestly. And to see somebody that taught us half of the stuff going is just like, you got to appreciate when you're here.
At a young age, too, man. Yeah, that was definitely crazy. Meech, how you feel about it, man?
Man, like I said to you earlier, it's quite wild being able to almost see energy, like, fade away from a space. Mm-hmm. And, you know, once again, at a pop-up event, and people I haven't seen in a second, but all great souls, and great to connect with you all once again. And Yeah, man. It just started off as a joke, like, oh my goodness, yeah, right. This is crazy.
Yeah.
This is some troll stuff.
Right.
And then as it got more serious, you just watch people dwindle down. And I think from my perspective, to start off, just from what I saw, I hated Kobe Bryant when I was younger.
I had a moment like that
yeah,
too, man.
I spoke on it real quick online where I was a gigantic Philadelphia 76ers fan.
Got you.
And AI, kind of took over for Jordan for me. That was very short-lived early on for my Jordan infatuation.
Yeah.
And AI, it just was more relevant. His age spoke more to me being so young. I'm like, this guy's young as well, and he's putting the mix on who I was perceiving like as my grandparents' legend and all that.
Yep.
And 0-1 finals, man. I sat there up in Worthington area with my great grandparents and watched that game one get taken by the 76ers. Lit.
Yeah, you're like,
Lit.
oh my God.
And then I spent
we was young. We was like,
you feel me?
5, 6 years old.
So for me, I'm hitting like 10 years old at that point, but I can just remember vividly like where I was, and his game was so strong that it made me hate how good he was.
Yeah.
I watched the next 4 games just slide away. We got bullied,
I think that's where everybody's hate comes from. Like hate. It's not really hate. It's just like, damn, he's a killer.
It's a sick form of envy.
Yeah.
It's just you can't explain it.
Yeah.
And like I said, looking at some of you guys and knowing that it's a lot more deep rooted, more so than just that envy. It's like, no, I truly like this guy. That was kind of defeating to watch, close friends, idol, or somebody they really looked up to, just fade away in the blink of an eye.
Blink of an eye, bro.
And yeah, I think that was more hurtful than anything. It's just watching memories and all that fondness fade away, for sure.
Definitely gonna live on though. He'll definitely live on. But how y'all think that affects basketball just in the future?
Man, it'll just make people respect the game a little bit more and just do it the right way. Like, I remember when it happened, it was like, damn, do I even want to... Like, it really had nothing to do with necessarily playing basketball, but it hit you like, damn, do I really want to hoop no more?
Yeah.
Like, is it worth going to play and stuff? Like, he didn't die for playing basketball or nothing like that, but it just makes you realize, like, bro, like, anything... It scared me, you know what I'm saying? Because
I mean, Quinn Cook was the number one person that I seen, and it was just like,
yeah,
man, that really affected him. Like, he was breaking down. Like, he was just...
And one thing, it was crazy that you mentioned that, like, I realized is when they showed they did like the special with ESPN and ABC.
Mm-hmm.
I remember sitting at my sister's house and I was with my family, and on the left side, like the couch, it was my sister and all her kids, and then on the other side is her fiance. And I'm just sitting there, going through Kobe's family and just talking about everything, and I just look like, just looking like damn, he's really gone, and I'm just looking at my family like, bro, at any given moment, this could not, and I just instantly start crying. Yeah. I'm just like, bro, I could not see them tomorrow.
Yeah. And
it was just like, damn. So it just broke me down and made me realize, like,
perspective, man.
Bro, appreciate everything. And you hear it all the time. Everybody may tweet it, everybody may post it, but seriously, like, appreciate your life regardless of what you're going through, because for one, it could be much worse, and two, you could be dead tomorrow.
Facts.
That day, I just publicly announced, like, it's all done. I'm dropping, any form of animosity, any kind of, hiccups or bumps along the road with anyone. Like, I can't use the word love because I don't know everybody's body to that level. Yeah. But I appreciate you all.
No, definitely.
And that wasn't just to say it. It really, really dawned on me in that moment. I've taken the time in life to, really feel that way, but that was almost like the nail in the coffin. Like, no, you really have to go about this in a manner where, like, everybody is appreciated. And they contribute, and they contribute in some kind of way, whether it be positive or negative, but I will always take it as it was meant to be there for a reason. Mm-hmm. And in the world of basketball, I think the two big things are we lost an ambassador.
Right.
Man.
That was,
Powerful.
ultimately probably going to go on and do more and be more impactful post-career than what he did in his actual time in the basketball realm. And then to have daughters, potential to, reignite and probably take, women's basketball to a new plateau and somewhere that it really hadn't been seen, because not only do you have amazing daughters in the sport, you have the opposite sex backing it up, and it's somebody who's very prolific in the sport. So, yeah, it was a lot.
So many variables.
The magnitude was big.
Yeah, most definitely. So, I mean, I kind of want to, branch off of that and get to pretty much anything just going on in the city. Just like our culture switch. I kind of want to just talk about the culture switch of just Columbus in general, because I feel like us as a city is just really developing. I see everybody, me personally, I see everybody like advancing, everybody around me. And I just want to just have everybody, talk about it, just anything that y'all see going on, anything just in the city that I see, or any potential of the city, or how y'all feel about the city, or just, shit like that, man.
Well, I think, to start off is just in my time of being in Columbus and seeing the development of it. I've been in many parts of the city. I used to live right over in the Mount Vernon area. Yeah. Then I ended up going that way again as an adult and living that way. I've been on, the east, north side of town, wherever you can consider. There's probably a family member or somewhere that I've lived in this realm. Yeah. And I think we're in just a time right now where it is find your identity, make something productive of yourself, and ensure that we do not get lost in, a lot of the apparent gentrification that is going on.
Man, it's crazy. That's, man.
I bring up the Mount Vernon location in general just as an example, and that's why I started off with it, is because right up the street from where I lived, I've watched the supermarket go down in years past. Yeah. And when I came back to Columbus a couple years in, I drove down Mount Vernon and I saw these new apartments set up, and I'm like, you know what? This looks very, very like generic or cookie cutter.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, well, I know from other big cities, I know what this is.
That's like the first sign, like.
Absolutely. This is a very pivotal time to, as young adults, to, just come together and have some solidarity, and also really take this time in your life seriously as far as investments and everything go. Put money into, the long term. Yeah. Or else you're going to find yourself complaining way more than, appreciating what this city is going to become.
Because, like, I see my side of the city. I say on the south side.
Yeah.
And I'm, like, pretty much the last, like, I'm on, like, the last, I don't know the word to say, but it's pretty much, I'm, like, the last one left. We're, like, the last block left, and I keep telling everybody, I'm like, as soon as they build a Starbucks on Parsons Avenue, it's over with.
It's over.
It's over with, because from Children's Hospital, pretty much, and then on, it's just totally different.
You guys remember, for a moment, it was the east side of town. They pigeonholed us. They made that the place for us to be as people of color. Mm-hmm. And now, the thing that I constantly hear is, being brought up is Canal Winchester.
Yeah.
There should not be that much frequency in it being a place that is like, oh, that's where we are. No, we deserve to be wherever we want to be.
Exactly.
It's just your belief in that. We deserve what we work for and everything that we strive for. That is rightfully ours. And you just have to truly believe that. Even me being over in like the Easton area, I am in a predominantly white area, and I get looked at. I've had a couple neighbors, give me that look like, uh-oh.
What the hell, yeah, what you doing?
And then they get really thrown off when they see me put my key in the door, and they're like, oh, that's my neighbor.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, absolutely. So, yeah, and you just go about your day. Yeah, I know I deserve to be there. I know I work for, you know, what I spend my money on and where I live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's rightfully yours.
Yeah, nah.
That's your reward for enduring this world we're in. For sure.
How you feel about the club, man? Just the city, just developing in general.
Yeah, it's definitely developing. It's a lot going on, especially being a kid that grew up in that area, grew up in the Milo area.
Yeah.
So that's changing, bro.
Definitely
it's
changing.
Literally, like, I was driving through the other day to go see my dad, and bro, like, they're coming. They are coming.
It's scary, man, and it happens so fast. You really have to like have some structure and some grounds
and it's
real quick.
It's super crazy because we like own our house, so we just gotta stay on our toes and just be ready for what could potentially happen. Because you watch the area, and it's kind of good for the city. Don't get me wrong, because the downtown area is a dominant area.
Mm-hmm.
They want people to be able to go down there and have fun and kick it. But it's just like he said, damn, like you're kicking our people out because y'all feel like this is where we should be.
And you're going to raise up the prices.
Instead of just working together and just staying on accord of just what we should do.
For sure.
So it's good to see in a way, because it's like, okay, like I can, if I'm one of them people that can potentially have a family downtown or do something like that, like I can take my kids out in like the next 10 to 15 years and not have to worry about them being in danger or doing anything, and I can walk around and do everything free. But at the same time, like, damn, y'all kicking my people out and y'all making them go somewhere they don't really want to be. Yeah. So it's like you battle between what's really right, and like definitely like Meech was saying, like it's definitely not right how they do us. It's just you wish there was a way you could fix it, and just like what you said, like the culture in general. I feel like we're growing as a city, but one thing I feel like we need to work on to be on the other side of the spectrum, we just need to work on togetherness.
Yeah, working together, bro.
Because, like, you see, like, as good as we're going and we're starting to make that peak, somebody's so quick to be like, man, Columbus ain't shit. There ain't nothing going on in Columbus. I got to get out of here. I got to leave. Columbus is whack. Don't nobody support me. And it's just like, no disrespect, but what are you doing to help Columbus become a better city? Yeah. Even if you're not even the biggest person, or the mayor, whoever you are, like, you own a shop. What are you doing to change a piece of Columbus
People don't realize the little that, like, a little contribution can make a major impact.
Exactly.
That's how I feel.
Exactly.
I feel like, but people don't think that. People think that it always has to be money. It always has to be this. Always has to be that.
That's what I'm saying.
But it's like, nah, you don't. And sometimes, and most of the time, being like an innovator or something like that, you're not going to always get the recognition. You feel me?
Right.
You're not going to always get the recognition that you deserve, maybe until later on.
Right.
But when you make that impact, you don't realize how many people it affects.
One thing Deontay's doing, we were just talking about, like the Sunday things. It's allowing a brand to come in every Sunday or what they do, whatever, and sell their stuff. It helps open up a different culture and help us have that togetherness that I'm speaking on, because it helps us grow as a community, as a black community, to show people that we stick together around
Shout out to Deontay.
Yeah, shout out to him for that. And then even to do those sessions that he does, bringing all these clothing brands together and just having like a workshop on what they maybe could do better, or giving them some tips of how they can grow and be successful. And just understand that, like, money isn't always a thing. It's about your work ethic and how you produce and what you're producing. Because, you may feel like you have the hardest thing, or you may have the best clothing, there's the best that. But what work are you putting into it? Are you working on your craft every day? What do you do when you get off work? Is this your only job? So if this is your only job, what are you working on to always better yourself? So it's like we just got to understand that, like, being a unit is so much better than just being out here by yourself, because you will never know. You can meet that one person. You can run into that one person that could potentially change your life. And it could be within your city.
And even Meech. I met Meech through you.
Yeah.
Every time I talk to Meech, Meech welcome me with open hand,
Always.
open arms,
Always.
Or adapt, whatever it was. And every time, drop knowledge. It didn't cost a dime. You know what I'm saying? So even now, years pass, and, got him on the podcast with us,
I think a big thing is just as black people, from coming up early on in school, we read these history books. We get exposed to selective subjects and everything. A big reason why some of these efforts by like Deontay and others are so needed right now is because it's expanding people's palates And whether it be what you guys just brought up, go out, see something in the city, go expose yourself to more rather than complaining. And within that, you never know the outcome of your actions, whether you go to an area you've never been to, whether you go to the art museum or something.
Mm-hmm.
You might run into a person, you might have something event-wise that happens to you, something that literally expands upon your realm of comfort. That's where we get caught up a lot, is just when things get uncomfortable, there's resistance and thought. And just in general, the majority of us have to really, really open up to, once again, the solidarity and the open-mindedness that only together are we going to continue to move forward. But that only comes about if you do that for yourself first.
Yep.
And
it's crazy because I remember I was with Cam in D.C. and we were speaking on, what was it, Cam? Was it the 6 laws of separation?
6 degrees.
6 degrees of separation, 6 degrees of separation. And I was like, what is that? And I asked him, and just like right now, there's 4 of us in the room, put 2 more people. You're one person away from potentially meeting the next person that can help change your life or the next big whatever. And it was crazy because he was like, my guy DC asked me, who's somebody you want to meet? I was like, man, LeBron, that's everything to me. Like, that's who helped me do everything. He was like, man, like, it really don't mean much, but at the same time, it's like, you would never know. He was like, I got Rich Paul's number. I was like, what? He was like, yeah, bro.
That's crazy.
And he gave me 45 minutes of his time one time being out, just being able to talk to him and just see how he was. And just for him to be able to do that show, like, they care. Obviously, they're at a way bigger spectrum, but still, like, it's just like, damn, you can really be in a room with somebody that could potentially see something and help change. That's why, like you said, you got to always stick together and do that. Like, even with us being around Meech, every time we see him, it's always knowledge dropped. And when we leave, it's like, okay, I'm going to be better tomorrow because I just talked to Meech, not the next day.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I wake up tomorrow, what can I do to change my life or just take that next step to a better life for me? And, all through a conversation.
All through a conversation.
Like, to piggyback off that, I think a big message that has just hit me is what I want anybody that's listening to this to understand is we are all people. And when you get past that, those labels, that stardom and all that becomes irrelevant because they cannot grow further without you as well. Right. There's always a trade-off. And being in the corporate world now and being in a predominantly white setting, let me also say this. They are just people too. I not only speak for, the people of color, is I am in an office on the daily, and within my first week of being there, I walked into our CEO's office and had a very nice sit down with him. I was being trained at the time, and my trainer walked away from me. And when I came back, I was like, where did you go? And he was like, you just went up to the CEO and decided to, start talking. I'm like, his door was open, and he's a person.
Yeah.
And that really boggles them. Like, there's almost like a totem pole kind of mindset in that world.
Yeah,
and I'm
kind of like you stay right here. Like, don't.
But the realization is he needs me just as much as I essentially need him.
Yeah.
Without me doing my job functionality, the business doesn't progress or doesn't get a step done.
Right.
So understand your worth and how vital you are. And then once you understand that for itself, distribute that. So that's why I enjoy talking to you guys so much. Anybody that I come in and encounter, I love that. It's not to hear myself talk. I literally would not be anything without being able to bounce stuff off of you guys and anyone else or any of my peers, and be able to get, whatever feedback that I receive as well as valuable.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And that is how we move forward and we stay strong within this growth that is happening to, circle back to how this topic began.
Okay. Yeah, I like that, man. Now we can get more into the culture. So I kind of want to talk about the fashion of Columbus. I want to talk about the fashion of Columbus because I feel like There's a lot of it. There's a lot of it. I think everybody, you know, that dresses around here does a pretty good job. You know, and I don't know. I just kind of want to just speak on it. I want to hear everybody's opinion because me personally, I just want to give a shout out to everybody that's doing their thing out there. Just styles in general because I know everybody talks about it all of the time. Every time, you know, we have interactions with just anybody, you know, if I see a shirt on Claude or, by the way, that hat is crazy, Claude, that Inthecity hat is super crazy.
Fuego.
Yeah.
Fuego.
Put up to the camera real quick.
To Columbus.
Yeah, shout out to Columbus. But yeah, man, you know, I see a shirt on Claude or something and be like, oh, man, bro, that shit's hard, bro. And then we'll just get into a deep dive where I see Meech. You know, I remember we was at the Streetwear Flea. By the way, the Streetwear Flea is on the 23rd, I want to say.
Yes, indeed.
The 23rd.
February 23rd.
Yeah, February 23rd this month. Go get your tickets. And, you know, I remember when I had on my We All We Got hoodie on. And he was like, man, I got the Rhinestone long sleeve. You know, just little things like that. I think Columbus is really hip. So I just want to, if y'all want to talk about it.
Yeah, it definitely is growing. It's funny because, like, I remember when we were like younger and growing up, one of the things you would hear a lot was like, bro, Columbus always getting something late. Columbus always don't get this early. Like, Columbus, man, I went to Atlanta and and now I feel like that's starting to fade because everything is starting to come and everything is starting to be here and everything's starting to develop, like, all around. As a whole culture, everything's developing. As much as I hate saying that word, by the way, but it's the truth. Everything's developing, everything's moving up. Like Heat Archive, shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out
because
to Heat Archive.
they are like they help put like a whole different realm of what fashion is for people. Like we always known about it, but think about the people that don't know about it, but want to be within that, want to be within fashion, and want to be, you know, on that and have that going for them. And you know, oh, I can go somewhere and figure out what's those, and I can go in this store and be like, damn, like this what y'all be wearing, this what y'all be having on.
Cause shit, like Heat Archive, they please all outlets. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, like everybody.
The boys who want to be super flashy, you can get the hype beasts, you can get the people who love the vintage. You know what I'm saying?
Every once in a while, you even see some designer in there, and it's just like it's starting to grow, and it's just like, you know,
and they've been around for a minute too, you know, and they
right, and it's like as much hate as you hear, and you be like, man, I don't know, it's starting to grow and it's starting to move forward, just because the pioneers of fashion, I feel like in Columbus, are starting to step up.
Oh yeah, of course,
and they're starting to do it the right way. So you got to give them their credit. That's why the one thing I always give credit when it's due.
Oh yeah, of course.
I never like, wow, I you know, and you know, whenever I see something going on, I be like, man, you doing that? I always show people appreciation and let them know, like, bro, keep up what you're doing, because you're changing the culture and you're starting the wave of what's to be, you know, for the next generation. So,
sure.
Well, I guess from a little more tenured standpoint,
exactly.
My first thing is to get out of the way. Columbus, I would want at one point in time love for us to be identified for a specific footwear article that makes us Columbus, Ohio. You've got regional shoes and things that people identify other cities for, like, you know, you got New York, Uptowns. Like, there are names or there are specific silhouettes that are associated with
California Vans.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it.
I would love for us to be that, because in my time of footwear, we have never had that. And it's not about being late. It's just not finding your identity. We get those same things, and it's just it doesn't circulate or sell as well, so it doesn't remain as relevant or present. And I would just like for that at some juncture in time. That'd be sweet.
Definitely. I think so. I think so as well. Because, I mean, the only like tennis shoe that I have are Stan Smiths. Like, I got rid of literally all of my Jordans, all of my Vans, because, you know, I used to work at Vans or whatever. And I got rid of all of my Vans, got rid of all of my Jordans, and literally was like, bro, Stan Smith is my favorite shoe ever. Like, that's my favorite shoe. I throw it on, and there it is. Like, I literally have all Stan Smith shoes. Like,
absolutely.
And, you know, somebody see me nowadays, they be like, what Stans you got on? Like, you know what I mean? So, Columbus should identify. I think
that's where I'd like for us to be. And then, you know, going forward to the actual, like, clothing, streetwear, whatever you want to call it. I'm beyond proud of all the young and like fruitful minds that are really presenting stuff. I don't necessarily have to agree with it. I might, not ever wear it, but what I do appreciate is when I can see the authenticity in that person's like essence put into it. I can tell
if it's
when something, is just churned out in the sake of saying I have clothing, or no, like this is time, thought, and process. This is detail down to the stitch work and everything. It's all of that accumulates and makes a good product. And being a gigantic Bathing Ape fan, I've been a Bape head forever, down to attending the concerts that they hold in New York. Like I genuinely love that brand, and that trickles down and allows me to see, because I've seen the quality work put in, especially for a Japanese garment brand. We commonly associate Japanese goods as being cheap and quickly made.
No way.
Old Bape is not. I will show you, and that is precision, and that is stuff that was made with care. And like I said, it trickles down, and I appreciate seeing some of the young people, even some that have lived with me. One time for B. Scott, man. One time for Brandon Scott and General Public. I'm very, very happy to see the progress that has come along. Once again, I don't always, buy it or appreciate it to the point that it'd be on me. But I see the progression and the time being put in, and I see what has come about. And, I'm a little biased, just a little, because I've definitely put in my input. But it's minuscule in the grand scheme of things. And like you said, with Chris, I have been appreciating his stuff for a minute now. It's there. Preacher Ministry. That is quality goods.
That is, man. I have not copped anything from, but every time I see it, I'm like,
it's there.
Oh my God.
But no, I mean, I think in general, Columbus, between shops and individual clothing people, and them having their brand, you guys have got it. Just understand that the exposure is there. E-commerce is booming. So even if it's not here, was that really ever the goal?
Exactly.
You want to you want to have people appreciate on a bigger scale.
All over,
If you're just thinking in this realm and just being in Columbus, cool. But I would like for you to do more, and that's all I hope for the clothing brands. Honestly, is just always do it with authenticity. When I see that, I have nothing else to say.
But
I don't care. That is it.
You got anything you want to say, Claude? Just as far as anything, man. Got anything you want to speak on?
Yeah, one thing I wanted to ask Meech about is the transition from Soul Classic to DSW, and how that's been going, and what's what's the differences, what's something you like, what's something you don't, what's just the whole
man
of it, the whole.
Well, I'll try not to take up too much time, and I'll give my summary. There just came a point in time where at SC, the position I was put in was buy Deontay out, or continue to just be a manager. I had factors playing in where, at the time I was in a relationship, and it was like, in order to make more adult moves and everything, you got to increase your income, or you're just here. Where's the challenge? And, it's been a dream of mine to either be in a corporate buying role or do something, whatever it may be for a big shoe brand such as Nike or something. As cliche as that sounds, that's just been something I really wanted, and I had never had anybody truly challenge me to really go for it. And then I came into a new friend group that they were all above me as far as what they do, between making more, their titles, all that. But they made me feel comfortable and made me believe like I could make that move. Yeah. And with their assistance, you know, it came about, and I jumped in there, and I wasn't scared. You know, it's nerve-wracking when you're first in there just because you want to make sure you do right. Yeah. But I've said this to a few peers, and that is, if that's something that you truly want to do and you want to try out corporate America, do not be scared and do not let up. This is not a knock towards anyone in particular, but within corporate America, when you really get in there, the amount of time you've put, especially if it's something you're passionate about, you're going to run into people and you're going to run into situations where you're like, I should either A, have your job, or B, I know that I can, like, I know that I know this so much that I deserve to be here. It really solidified my thoughts early on, like, no, I deserve to be here. I know what I'm talking about. There's just like a really weird stigma or like intimidating perception put on like getting in there. Once you're there, you start to get very relaxed if it's what you truly care about. You're in there and you're like, man, I can do this just as well as you. And that's what it's been at my time at DSW is just I came in and one, you know, it's diverse, but still the minority in there. And I go into work dressed like this. Yeah. And for them, it was never a thing where they brought it up and it was a bad thing. They're very actually open as far as their culture goes. But then people started to really pick up, like, more so on the footwear because that's obviously what we do. They're like, one, you don't ever wear DSW shoes, but they're always interesting, and you wear all these different ones. And, it, you know, just feeding off of that and using that to my advantage, it's led to opportunities within the company. It's led to major people in the company noticing me. And when you combine that with just, you know, doing your job effectively, doing it with care, and finally, you know, networking is vital there. And don't ever be scared. These people are here to put you in positions, and you never know when you can, like, reach out to them and call upon them to help you out. It's good to have backing.
You never know when they can call upon you. You know what I mean?
And when opportunity presents itself, take it.
Right.
Like we were speaking on earlier with, you know, people's ability to be comfortable or they become resistant in thought when they become uncomfortable. Yeah. I've just taken everything as when something is lobbed my way, it might sound crazy as far as like the difficulty goes. Yeah. Won't know unless I try it.
Exactly.
And that's just how I've approached it. So now, you know, it's led into this ongoing thing where now I've been modeling for DSW, and that's been funny within itself. And that, you know, that just came about from one, it started off being noticed, and being a presence within the building, and then it was a close coworker was like, I need your help with this photo shoot. And then I didn't think anything of it. I helped out.
He's like, okay.
And then the next one was people I didn't know reaching out going like, we would like you to be a part of a marketing campaign.
Oh, wow.
And always get the fine print, folks, because I definitely was undermined when it came to how far this marketing campaign was going to go. But, you know, when you go into DSWs now, I'm in like all the stores.
Yeah, I was going to say,
yeah. You know, across the state. It's very surreal. It's hilarious to hear. But once again, that's just another notch on the belt. It's gotten, you know, exec level people to notice, have a name in their minds. I'm in meetings I don't know about. Yeah. And now you use that to your advantage.
See, that's big.
I
love hearing shit like just this in general. Yeah.
Go after it. Whether you know that's for you or not, do anything that you're comfortable and passionate about. Make sure it makes sense in mind. Like you can do it with like sound mind, and then, you know, wrap that up with committing and finishing it. Yeah. Get an end product. Yeah. For sure.
I think I think a big word, or a good word to is all of that is elevation. You know what I'm saying? Always look to improve or go up. You know, just with anything that you're doing. Anybody that's listening, I say this to everybody. Honestly, elevation is a huge thing. I feel like me being young, I feel like I'm trying to do that right now. You know, I am doing that right now. You know, just with everything I'm doing within the past year, I wasn't doing this. Now look, me and Claude, you know, and Meech, you know, and Cam, everybody is elevating. You know, I remember the last time I walked in here, you know, all of this. I don't know if y'all see it, but all of this wasn't here. I walked in, I said, man, Cam, you know, this is crazy. Like, this shit looks hard. Like, he got us writing on the table and everything now. I think all of this is sweet, man. Elevation is a huge thing for me, just in general now, man. And yeah, that's my spiel.
Sure. It's good to hear. Very proud of you as a little brother to you, and everything you got going on, and just how you keep, in a way, regardless, people know you're not leading the culture. You know, you're allowing people like us to not be afraid to go and do something. I remember talking to you about that at the Madison thing, and I was asking you about that, like, about corporate world and different things like that, because, like you said, the word you kept, like, saying is, like, undermining. It's like an undermining thing in our culture. People hate the corporate world because they feel like we're under umbrella, we're under a net where we only can do so much, and our voice can only be so heard. But if you're willing to challenge, like you say, challenge the next person, and like you said, even to go and walk into the CEO's office because the door was open, like something like that is challenging people and showing people you're there.
Yeah, people think corporate is just cubicle, sit there, rest of your life.
Answer a damn phone
That's
call.
it.
There's so much that is fed to us, and there's so many constructs and, you know, standards that are set. It boils down to something as simple as when you walk in the street and you amongst, you know, a bunch of people that are looking at you like, ooh, you might not be here, like you're not supposed to be here. They only become uncomfortable / more uncomfortable if you display that you are uncomfortable. As long as you go about what you need to do in your business, and I'm not saying and do it in a manner where it's just like, don't see me like a...
Just confidence.
No, like I'm here. Like I was put on this earth for a reason, just like you. Right. So let's get to it. And ultimately, who cares? Like you need to achieve your own goals and everything. Yes. Me thinking about what somebody's perceiving me as, that's a whole lot of energy and time I do not have. And you know, I think in general with elevation and being able to be more comfortable is just challenge yourself to have the mindset of realizing in the world of ups and downs. Yeah. Truly the most beautiful picture is gray. Like you need to have your white and your light and the positive and uplifting things in your life. But you need that black as well. You need those things that set perspective, make you appreciative, and ultimately those events and things are just as building as something positive. And that comes about with those levels of comfort.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that was a lot of my next segment I was gonna say was words of wisdom. But I think we gave a whole bunch of words of wisdom, like all of us did, actually. Sure. And we pretty much got through everything that was going to talk about. We were going to talk about. If Claude, you got anything you want to talk about, man?
I didn't get to send it to you, but I had put a couple things down.
Yeah, I know, you good.
One thing I will go first is I'll go this one above the second one. What was your favorite shoe of 2019?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, that's a... Man.
Give me a top 5. 2019.
Top 5 of 2019. Do I even remember that? Goodness gracious. Are you speaking like stuff that released or stuff that I personally bought?
From personal bought to releases,
whatever. Your favorite shoe?
Whatever you didn't have.
So personally bought.
Whatever you didn't have from the years to you had. You
bought it in rock.
You bought it in 2019. You bought it in 2019.
I like that. No, okay. So to start off, in 2019, and in the middle of the year, Soul Classics, if you are not aware, for the listeners that are checking this out, Soul Classics does something called Vans Vault, which is a tier 0 account within Vans. And for people that don't understand tiering, 0 is usually allocated to very few stores. And when you do see it, it is on an e-commerce platform. Think of it as very few Nike stuff that releases in stores, and then it is primarily sneakers app, to put that in perspective. And you don't hear about any store in your area getting it. That is essentially tier 0. So with that, they are one of less than 25 in the country that carry this product in store. And for my Columbus natives, you are more than likely aware that we've done collaborative projects with Vans over and over again. So this time, it was the Funk Pack. So this was paying heritage to Dayton, Ohio, being the birthplace of funk. It was a multitude of shoes and capturing different parts of the funk element. And there was a purple Vans Chukka that was...
Yeah, I was number one.
Masterful.
I was number one.
It's bodied. Like, if you want to talk about a shoe being bodied, that's it. No doubt. A quirky one that most people probably won't be hip to is one called the Nike Air Mock. Nike in the past has done a moccasin that is very similar build to one of my favorite Nike silhouettes / models called the Footscape. And this one in particular, they went ahead and did an N7 Nike Air Mock. Nike N7 is a program where a lot of the proceeds and benefits and the project itself is towards Native American reservation development and preservation. And for that, they partnered with Pendleton, who was infamous for making like the Navajo-looking blankets, book bags, and all that. And they did a Pendleton N7 Nike Air Mock that I absolutely loved. I guess following up from that, was the Sean Witherspoon 2019?
Nah.
That was 2018. See, I'm so lost, and I've had him for so long. I'm like, okay, I've lost like time on it. Outside of that, let's see. I want to say Nigel Sylvester was the Nigel 2019.
No, they weren't.
Was that 20?
I think it might have been 2018.
Really?
Sure. Yeah.
Man, I'm slacking.
Look it up.
Well, regardless, that was a pickup for me in 2019.
Right.
Nigel Sylvester went ahead and partnered with Nike. If you're not aware of who he is, he's a Nike athlete that is a pro BMX biker.
Yep.
That was what I lean more towards. I was not a big skateboarder. I was on a board for a week, got thrashed. I said, nah, that's not for me. Nigel, continuing it on for black BMX bike riders, which you don't see that often on that level. Really the shoe basically is scuffed up to mark where he would generally have like the bike scuff his shoe. And I thought, incredible.
I think that concept is insane. I think the shoe is insane.
Yeah.
I remember when it first came out, I wanted to get it so bad, and I was like, "Yeah, it's definitely cop, and I still have not copped to this day, but it's definitely a good shoe."
I guess my last two, the next one is a 2-in-1. Going back to the Footscape, they do a Footscape Chukka, and actually one time for many, man, because you're about to get shouted out because you got me one of the pairs. But basically, my favorite Footscapes, they did a multicolor like rainbow pair. So the woven material throughout the upper is multicolored. It looks like a rainbow. There are two different sets of colors depending on the black and the white version.
Okay. I
got both of those last year. Minnie helped me out with the white pair. They were beyond beat, and I had a shoe cobbler bring them back to life and literally get the upper to connect with the midsole again.
That's real.
It was incredible. So I guess just to wrap it up, what was my last one? Jeez. I just had it. Charles Barkley. I love almost all of Charles's shoes.
Okay.
Like they're chunky. There's just something about them.
That's a wild card right there.
Absolutely. So for me, there's one, the CB34 is one that has a strap going over the forefoot. I'm a sucker for forefoot straps and like technical or weird tooling on shoes, whether it be zippers and everything. I love that stuff. And this particular pair I did not own when it came out, but it was a House of Hoops exclusive. And the shoe itself looks like Godzilla's foot. That's what the CB34 is designed after.
Okay.
Charles Barkley versus Godzilla is the theme.
Yeah, I remember seeing those T-shirts, like those old vintage.
Exactly.
tees.
So the House of Hoops pair is done in the old Phoenix Suns colorway. So it is mostly black, and then it is purple and orange throughout. And killer. Found them for absolute steal on eBay. They're still wearable. But, yeah, that would be my top five.
Okay.
Well, I'd say last thing I probably had was your collection. How many shoes you think you if you could just throw a number out there, how many you think you got, man? Because
okay, not only do I like care about it, I have the lore and everything because I owned a lot. So, disgustingly, at one point in time, the most I had at one single time was 600 pairs.
for everybody that's going to listen to this and hear this, 600 pair of shoes.
I have consignment
shoes.
Between ex-girlfriend sharing a sneaker room with me to
shoes,
a AC controlled storage unit. I've had it all, and you know, it has led to a lot of benefits in my life. It's helped me, you know, propel myself and be in a really comfortable situation. But yes, I mean, through time, it's probably nowadays through selling and, you know, everything that I've done, probably seen about 12 to 1,300 pairs of shoes in my lifetime. It's unreal.
Insane.
So
insane.
that's probably why Claude asked, but yeah, there's about 30 now. It all needs to either be something that's sentimental or something that I'm going to wear a lot. And that's like the same 5 shoes over and over. The rest of them are there mostly because I truly care and I occasionally wear them. So
no, yeah, of course.
600 pair.
600
from maybe
pair.
Start first collecting 12 to 13. Telling you. And I remember last time I think I asked him, he was it was actually Miles who had told me like he had a crazy collection. And, like one of them that told me it made like their collection made a lot of money.
Absolutely.
A lot of money.
You know, the one thing that I say is, you know, early on it became an investment thing. I just saw it. It was before this boom and surge of it being lucrative.
Right. Yeah.
The secret behind it that occasionally gets brought up is early on when Nike SB was first starting, there were very select accounts. And in Wisconsin, where I was living when Nike SB was really, really taking off, there was a skate shop that had an SB account. And at the time, between Element, Etnies, DC, I want to say it's Audio or something. However, regardless, yes, there were DVS. There were some major players in Wisconsin, but Nike SB, price point wise, and it just being a Nike skateboarding shoe, hadn't really caught on yet in Wisconsin. So there came a point in time where I eventually approached the shop owner and I started bulk buying his SB stuff out. And with that,